I was diagnosed in 2001 at 5.5, and I was really lucky to not be misdiagnosed because my doctor had seen a patient a couple years prior to me.
When I was first born, my parents noticed my short, big toes, but the doctors dismissed it as I was a normal, healthy baby. At 6 months, when I went for my immunizations, they noticed that I couldn't straighten my left leg and I was having issues. So we did blood work, x-rays, and they referred me to an orthopedic surgeon. There was a bone in my left leg. So at 2 years old, I had surgery to remove that bone and lengthen the tendon on the backside of my leg. The bone grew back, which really stumped the doctor. And at 4 years old, I was correctly diagnosed with FOP.
We went to our family doctor, and he had looked at an x-ray, saw a strange piece of bone in the leg, which was probably causing her limp at softball. So he referred her on to an orthopedic doctor. We had to wait about 2 weeks to get into that orthopedic doctor. When we first went to the family doctor, that was the first time that I realized this wasn't just a normal kid limp that was due to overexertion, that there was some bone, unexplained bone, in the upper leg, and I saw the concern in that doctor's eyes. When we went to the orthopedic doctor a couple of weeks later, they practically ran us across the road to oncology. So along with being fearful of what it might be, I was downright scared then and very, very sad, confused, overwhelmed. Needed a biopsy. They also had ear, nose, throat, see her, so they could look at the swellings in her neck and back. They did do the biopsy. We went back to pediatric oncology and then were sent home because it was a long weekend. It was a hard weekend. Had to keep cool because I didn't want everyone else to realize the thoughts that were going through my head. Went back 3 days later, saw the oncologist who had researched over the weekend, the long weekend. She had felt it was not the cancer diagnosis, which they had quickly come to, but something was different. So she came up with a diagnosis of FOP. In the office, she connected us with the IFOPA and with a person with FOP who we talked to. It really helped put it in perspective. It wasn't quite so overwhelming to finally see that this was something we could go forward with.
Because FOP is such a rare disorder, it's a 1 in a million disorder, there are also very few specialists. My closest specialist is a 4-hour vehicle drive, and the next, that's one way, and the next closest specialist is a 4-hour drive plus a 4-hour plane ride to see an FOP specialist.
My pediatrician followed me until I was about 26 when he retired. I was really lucky. He planned his retirement and he trained someone to take his place. So I didn't have to do much educating when it came to my next provider. She knew about me, she knew about my care, she knew about FOP. So the transition for me was super smooth and really flawless. I have been super lucky with healthcare providers, and that is something I will never take for granted.
There are very limited specialists in our area. We have been very lucky so far. We have found pulmonologists and endocrinologists, orthopedic doctors, people that have been there for us. But it is getting more limited all the time. We have not been to FOP specialists very often at all. We would need to travel a long ways, 5 hours up to 10. We have a very hard time in getting there very often. So we're sort of on our own, we feel like, and rely on media, the internet, to have visits virtual.